I am right on time. I am not late at all. So thank you guys for tuning in to our after beta um, Crown of the God stream. Um,
Hey.
and thank Ala for being fashionably late.
I suddenly realized.
It's not her fault. In Ireland, they do not teach people how to tell time.
Oh, jeez.
Don't they use Celsius or something over there?
That's temperature.
Oh, okay.
Um, so the first beta went very well. Um, Everything ran pretty smoothly. There wasn't too many issues. You know, I think everybody had a good time with it. It was a really good test for us for Endgame. Um, the amount of cities that people could get at 10 times resources and 10 times speed and 4 times travel and 10 times dungeon loot was you know pretty high up there as far as comparison to like a full server. So most people have 200 and between 200 and 500 cities at the end of a server. So having people with 410 and 395 put a good enough load to give us some good testing to see where we needed to up some things and lower other things. And you know, if you add onto that the 4 times travel speed, that means everything's moving 4 times faster, and that kind of exponentially. Is the sound not working?
You're breaking up a little bit. It might be the
For
Skype
me
call.
too.
Hmm. Let me check. No, I can hear myself.
Can you?
Yes, I
Well,
can.
that's the important thing.
It's called an echo.
If you couldn't hear yourself, I'd be really concerned.
Well, that means I'd be in a vacuum. Um, so as I was saying, the 4 times travel with the 10 times resources kind of puts a comparable load onto a server that you would have with a server full of people with all the continents full. Um, so it was a really good test for us to see how everything kind of handled it as well. Um, and it handled it pretty good. The only issues that we had was I underestimated the amount of trades that would be going. So when you have 4 times speed and 10 times resources, those trades are going nonstop. I think at any given time we were processing close to 1,000 trades a second, um, which is quite a lot. So I think that's going to be more than we would ever experience in a live version of the game. So it gave us a good benchmark to test against, so that I could kind of sparse out how the trades were being processed and make it so that it can handle that size of a load. Um, so that's the whole purpose of betas, is for
Yeah,
us
it
to
was a
be
really
able to
nice load
test
test.
things. Test things at a fast pace. Large load on the server, so we can get the game functioning right for when we go live and there's a lot of people playing at the same time.
Definitely.
And so since we've kind of got that load testing out of the way, we are going to slow down the servers for the next time, for the second beta. So things will be at a slower speed. This game is not meant to be a have to be online 24 hours a day kind of game. It's really meant to be something that you can casually play. You can get on a couple hours, and then your counselors do the rest of the work for you. Um, so slowing it down should make it easier for people to keep up with and not have to be on it all the time. Um, while we do like people to play on it all the time, and when you get up there in cities, you can play on it all the time if you want to sit there and go through and optimize. But it shouldn't be a requirement for playing the game to be online all the time. Um, so we're going to slow it down quite a bit, you know, and make it so that it's closer to the real time speed, but still fast enough that it doesn't get too slow for a month long competition. Um, I have been working a lot on the second beta kind of things. Like as you can see here, I've made the script that does the picks out which shrine gets what are we calling it, Ala?
Activated, I think. Oh, awakened.
Awakened. When each shrine gets awakened. So the shrines are awakening now. Um, I've also done a lot of work on the server opening scripts. So it goes in and calculates the amount of cities or the amount of time between when it opened, a continent opened, and then it opens new continents based on kind of that. Um, so I've kind of got this whole thing automated now where we can automate the shrines awakening, automate the continents opening up, and I've sped it up pretty fast so that the continent should open pretty quickly in the second beta, giving people a lot of room to spread out, a lot of places to try to build up the around the shrines, kind of make it more like a realistic full game while still increasing the speed. So that's basically what I've been working on the past day or so since the competition ended. And we'll start working through the what are we calling the when it gives favor to the castle. Ella?
Blessing.
Blessing, isn't it?
Okay, so and I'm going to start working through the blessing formulas and the time changes and how the shrines more frequent their change in blessings as the older the shrine gets. So a lot of that's it's a good bit of more work than just actually writing the code. You've got to set up the database appropriately to save the right variables that you can use later on. Make sure that the graphics are lining up, making sure that the information is lining up, and that you can display it for people to see. So getting that whole thing kind of set up in the right way so that we can do all of the later functions. It takes a good bit of work, but that's why we're down for 2 or 3 weeks in between so that we can get all this kind of stuff set up. Also dig in deep onto alliance info and make sure that alliances are working well, since that's something I literally have not messed with in 4 months. So getting in there and making sure everything works in the alliances, because alliances are going to be a actual function of the second beta. So have that all fixed up and do some closed testing to make sure that everything is working correctly, and then we'll be ready for the second beta. But we've got the temple graphics getting there pretty well. Al has been spearheading getting that done with Sergio, and I think they're looking pretty nice. If you want to talk more about that.
Well, we have all 8 level 10s pretty much done now. We have a couple more little tweaks that we need to put in with those, and then we have our 8 level 10s done. So he still has 7 of the gods to do the rest of the graphics with. But I think that should be easy enough now that we kind of have what the plan is in place. So hopefully by the end of this week we should have temples completely done, and then we could start working on the blessing graphics, for the kind of shroud that goes around the castle when it's blessed on the region map. And then I think that's pretty much it. Am I forgetting anything else that we need?
Just also the representation of palaces on the region map too.
Oh yeah, those. Yeah, well I guess those will be easy enough now as well, since we have the temples themselves down. It'll just be kind of a matter of putting them in a city graphic setting.
Yeah, we do kind of we need to figure out how we're going to shape them, because if you can see on the regional map, we've got circles for the cities, and we've got kind of like a turned sideways square, more like a diamond shape for the castles. So in order to make things easy to stand out, you have to have not only different kind of color variants, but also like different shapes that make them stand out easier to people. So we'll have to think of what shape the overall temple is going to be on the map. I don't know if we go with something like a triangle, or, I don't know. Well, the problem with a hexagon is it looks too much like a circle.
Hexagon.
Well, we'll figure something out. Alice is saying that the sound quality on the call and on the video is pretty bad. If maybe we want to take the call from somebody else's Skype.
Okay, how about you?
Yeah,
reduces.
the call is is awful, Gordy. Sorry.
Okay. Well, how about
Nobody
you
can
I can't
understand
hear
me.
you
start the
guys.
call?
Okay.
Okay. All right. And we're getting back in.
Yay, much stronger.
Much better, yeah.
We are still streaming.
Woo!
Excellent. So
So,
hopefully this is better for you guys.
I think a lot of our players are sleeping. They're just in crash for 48 hours or
I
something.
think so.
No doubt.
I know a lot of them
I
are
can't
online
blame them.
quite a lot.
Yeah.
I think they burnt out.
Well, there's some that are asking for us to turn it back on already. I won't name any names.
I think that the high speed was just so much work for some people to stay up with that that's why the slower ones will be better. And also, a lot of people don't feel like they can compete for a score competition. So I think it'll be a lot more fun for everyone when we do start, doing the alliance competitions, because then you can still keep up, with winning without being one of the top score players because you're contributing to your alliance. And I think people like working together, especially in these kind of games.
I think so. It's what people are used to.
Absolutely.
But there was a reason that we had to do the individuals, and it's just because it was all about the server load testing and making sure all the building and stuff works. So putting the alliances and temples in at the same time would have been a less focused test.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not the thing that we wanted to focus on first.
Right. So I think we got pretty much everything. The only thing that people complained about was the trade counselor, which I discovered the cause of the issue today. So
Woohoo.
that should not be
Oh, wow.
a problem anymore.
Oh, that's excellent.
And it's not, and it's also why it was working for some people, not for everybody. It was more or less just that the server it was running on, I had never checked it, was burning up the CPU, processing all the trade requests for all the cities. So all I did was segment it out, between a couple different servers, and now it runs like a champ.
Beautiful.
Especially because nobody's online and I didn't delete anything, so I can look at how many trades are currently going out, which means nobody's actually logging the cities, so it's working offline.
How many trades are currently going?
That's what I was just gonna look up.
Haha.
$4,773.
That's not
Cool.
bad.
So
Yeah, considering that nobody is in the game doing new things.
Right, and dungeons are depleting, and so
well, I deleted all of the commands right after the server ended. So the only thing that's in there is trades. Because the
right.
Fine, trade
But
counselor.
with the dungeons going bye bye as people keep hitting them, you know what I mean?
Oh,
With
yeah.
the defense, because you didn't turn that off either, right?
no, well, yeah, because
Or
anybody's
the war counselor.
anybody's hits would have turned off because I deleted them. So that's just with people's
Oh, right.
natural resource productions.
Resources. So that's quite a bit of trades then for no dungeons going.
Yep.
Oh,
And especially it's 4 times speed, so I mean those are probably adding and processing pretty quickly. So
very cool.
it means it is running well. So it's good to know that it's not the code, and it was just that it was getting bogged down with I think there's something like 10,980 cities that people made.
Wow.
So if you
That's crazy.
take that amount of cities and then add in the 4 times trade, that's a lot of trades going on. So it's a very indicative load to what a full server would be, which is the point.
Right.
10,000 or so cities. Would that be like 3 or 4 solid packed continents?
Um, it'd be probably 3 solid packed continents, but then you take into the account the 10 times resources and the 4 times travel speeds. Um, kind of exponentially increases the amount of trades and stuff that would be going out. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably more, closer to,
To a full server. Yeah.
yeah, I'm just trying
What
to,
you'd see with all the continents full.
Yeah.
Very nice.
yeah, probably, I think it'd be higher than it would be with a full server of continents. Because that's 3 full servers and there's 36, so, it'd be less than 10 times and trades are moving at more than 10 times because of extra carts and extra res and the 4 times speed, so. I
Right.
think it's more load than we would actually see on a entirely full server of cities.
Plus the 10 times dungeon loot. That was another big one too.
Right.
So I
So-
think for next beta we'll be dropping that to 2 times rather than 10 times. Isn't that the plan?
Yay!
Yeah, 4 times
Woo!
resources, 2 times travel and dungeon loot, as well as probably 2 times carts, or should we just
Carts.
drop carts back down to normal?
Um. Hmm.
I say we drop
I
them back
guess
down
two
to normal.
times. Oh, you reckon so?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that. Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, probably drop all of the
We
other
did it.
buildings and like the storage and stuff like that down to normal.
Sounds
yeah.
Yeah.
The more normal, the better, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah. good. Except, of course, you don't want to drop it so far that we don't get to building a bunch of temples in 1 month.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you also that's a lot of extra res. So if you think about the game would be generally 6 months live, and you've got 4 times res, um, it's moving
Yeah,
quite
that,
a lot faster than the
yeah,
six
just the 4
months. So
times res should speed it up sufficiently, I think.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
think,
Yeah.
and especially since I'm populating the shrines and stuff pretty quickly, um, so people should
Yeah.
get a pretty fast chance to get the resources and get them, building up temples and earning their alliance faith. We do need to figure out something to do with the rankings for alliance faith. Like I was thinking about putting some kind of bar chart or something in.
Loyalty.
Loyalty, yes.
Yes. Yeah, well, a pie chart or something. Yeah, I guess we could.
Yeah, or like, even if we, maybe that's something we do when we do the overviews is have like a statistics overview that shows the gain rates of your, faith build and things like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Kind of like
Loyalty.
the stuff that people make for their alliances. We could do a lot of that ourselves and hook it straight into the database.
Yeah.
So people have a page to look at with all of their stats and growth and things like that.
Yeah,
That
we
would
could
be
put it,
lovely.
because it's building technically, so we could put it as part of build counselor.
And I think eventually it'd be kind of cool to have, like some kind of alliance hub system or something.
Yeah.
Where people could
What
ship
about
to
the
an alliance hub.
constructions? Yeah. What about the construction speed? Is that still going to be at times 10, or are we taking that down a notch too?
Probably put it at the same level as resources. So if resources are times 4, we'd probably put the building speed at times 4.
And that would make sense. I agree.
Yeah. So keep in mind, you're going to need to do your good, lots of cabins, temple layouts, guys.
And I might put troop recruitment at normal speeds as well. Just
Sounds
because, it's going to make people have to do actual troop city builds. Whereas if you even cut it in half or like even a third, it still negates the need for the majority of um, normal military
Your
build
military
cities.
rating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you do a proper build, you can get, 2 second, 3 second um, vanquishers anyway. So cutting that down even more is just I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. And we're also going to have the portals going. We call them portals.
Woohoo!
Yes, we're calling the portals. Well done.
So we'll
So
have
how
the
about the portal stone regeneration rate? Is that going to be the same as normal, or up a little bit? Oh, please up. Let's please up it.
up what?
The portal stone
Portals.
regeneration.
Um, no, I think that's going to be the same.
Oh, it's too slow. I want to be able to send lots of troops to those things.
Well, then people can hit bosses and get the items.
Get those purses, guys.
Um,
Yeah.
I did also put in a zoom for anybody who's interested in zooming regional map.
Oh,
Oh, I think you know everybody.
that one. That one is super exciting.
Oh wow, look at that.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool.
I don't know how far I set it. I think this is the max you can zoom out.
That's still pretty good. You can see a good amount of the sea dungeons and bosses and a good amount of the cities in your area.
Also,
Gives you a good overview of how many castles are around you, that kind of stuff.
you can also zoom in a bit too.
Cool.
Oh, cool.
Although I haven't worked out the tags sticking with them yet, so
Work in
something I'll have to
progress.
work on.
And is
So
that
speaking-
something that can only be done with like a scroller on a mouse, or like will we have buttons eventually that you can press that you can zoom in and out with the buttons,
Um,
or how?
there's a certain person that's in charge of making buttons.
I should ask the person to make some buttons.
We should ask somebody to make buttons.
Cool. Okay, I'll get on that.
But yes, we can
So,
have buttons, but
is
right
it-
now it's linked to mouse wheel. And pinch.
Okay.
Is it going to, are we going to have Zoom inside cities soon too then?
Yeah, I can do zoom. Actually, zoom inside cities is probably going to be easier to do than the regional, but I don't know why I picked to do regional first.
Because
The
it's
cities,
the hardest?
cities is the one everyone has been asking for.
Yeah, cities is going to be easier. Just because you don't have to worry about the labels moving around and things like that, so.
Perfect.
Yay.
Should be pretty good. And I think
Lots
we
of
do
people
have,
Just cannot wait for that Zoom.
I don't think people really care about the zoom in as much as the zoom out. So we don't really need
Yeah.
like a replacement for the graphics or anything if we wanted to zoom in, far. So
Yeah.
um,
Koff asks about tags by color.
tags by color. It does kind of show how hard it is to spot what each thing is when you kind of zoom out. Although it's, the color differences, at least with the shades on the castles, aren't so bad. But he's talking about like tags for.
The name tags on region map. The way they're blue and black at the moment.
Yeah, so make them
Like
different
how,
colors for the
yeah,
world
like so
map.
your enemy alliances would all be red, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could probably do that.
Excellent.
Although, really what I should do is make it so that when you get a certain point to the zoom, it automatically switches to the world map. Because you're basically
probably.
looking at, the icon color anyways, so it'd just be just as simple to have it shift into the world map and just go straight into the icons with colors. But, a
Yeah.
view like this makes it a little bit easier to see, the bigger picture around you than, I guess this is the normal size view. So, maybe that's something to think about, is just have it go straight into the world map instead of worrying about trying to make it too distinguishable in a far zoom out.
Yeah.
I think also some people have different screens where they're seeing less of the view than you have there. So being able to see a big picture in a smaller amount of space is useful for some people.
Yeah, like my monitor is 17. and I get a good chunk of the view. I can't even imagine what it would be like with a smaller monitor. I'd go nuts.
Those people should get bigger monitors. They're cheap, you know. They've become very affordable.
So yeah, it does work pretty good. So yeah, I'll put that in on cities before we do any testing or anything and see how that works.
Cool.
So should make people happy.
I think so.
Nothing will make people happy. We know that.
We've learned that by now.
And then me and Ala have been burning through bugs and trying to get pretty much everything fixed before we move on to other beta competitions. I think a lot of it had to do with the trade counselor, so it probably takes out 10
Yeah.
at the same time.
Hopefully. Yeah, we have some stuff to work on. I actually don't have the bug list up at the moment. We have some stuff to work on with city swapping. So like when you capture a city, that process is kind of fluid, and nobody's city is stuck on anybody else's list or anything like that.
Yeah,
Or
we need
getting
to.
trades from the former owners, hubs, that kind of thing.
Yeah, nobody's getting incoming attacks that don't belong to them or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably need to get a
So-
tick box in for don't attack alliance members if we're going to do that.
Hmm.
Yeah, we do actually have that window in the game, but it's not hooked up yet, so that's something we can do maybe this week.
And that way it'll cancel all other attacks, but then you can keep the other ones going. But I probably need to cancel all trades or something like that. I actually have the reports lined up, already in the array, so probably something I need to add reports as this city has changed owners, so this got canceled or that got canceled.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Sounds good. What else is on the list? Oh, we finally got, the other day we got in colored inputs. So if you're typing in Alliance chat, your input is green rather than everything just being yellow. So hopefully that will reduce on chat fails.
Oh yeah,
How
the thing where if you type like a slash, hold on, I can show.
/A or whatever, yeah.
So if you're in regular chat, you just type something, it stays the regular color. But then if you type
Cool.
/A, it should, although it's not now. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, it's just running behind because the running multiple things. It changes the color for you.
Yeah, so hopefully, yeah, for me it was immediate anyway, when I was testing it out the other day. So,
excellent. Well, that should help with some of the chat fails.
yes.
Now,
Some people
there was
who
another.
are,
I'm
you go
sorry.
ahead. No, go
There
ahead.
was another bug about being able to send land troops to other continents without the um, the ships, the galleys.
That's fixed now. I think that went in actually on one of the patches
Yep.
during the week. So
Cool.
Yeah, we tried to patch some stuff, during the competition, but, we didn't want to patch too much. So a lot of things got fixed. That were, we patched the major things. Like if there's a really big issue going on, then we'll patch that. But if, it's nothing that's too major, we generally were just going to patch it all in and wait for the end of the competition. Because by that point, we were only 2 or 3 days out anyway. So, try to keep the
Yeah.
maintenance down to a minimum.
Right.
It also doesn't help much that I was out of town, but so little things like that. But I think the game ran really well. I think the issue with the sieges getting hung was the same issue that was with the trade counselor. Is that the processing server was just getting bogged down by the trade counselor running through everything, so it was maxing out the CPUs on the processing servers, and so when CPUs get 100%ed, it basically keeps things from happening in other areas of the server. So now that I've kind of segmented everything out, I think that was probably what the issue was. So should be fixed now that we're not having that going on, nonstop.
I think what he means by lag is that even close to the end of the server, there was still a couple of people who were suffering quite badly with lag on their game actions.
Yeah, and J-Knight was one of them.
Yeah, I think that's something that we just need to dig in and do a lot of optimization. At this point, we've always been working more on functionality, but now that we've got the functionality down, we need to get in there and make sure everything's working clean and fast. I think that'll cut down a lot on the amount of lag people had.
Sweet.
Very cool.
But the siege is getting hung is the issue where some people would siege somebody and then it just wouldn't ever resolve. And I think that has to do complete with the 100% CPU use.
Cool. Well, hopefully it'll help.
Well, I know it's not a problem with the code because it works perfectly, and I can kind of see where it maxed out at. So it makes perfect sense that a maxed out server doesn't work as well. So I just segmented it out into a few different servers and should keep it from happening again.
Very cool.
I also put like the attack processing on a separate one from the trade counselor and things like that. So even if one gets hung up, then the other ones will keep processing just fine. So little things like that you never figure out until you get a big load on the server, which is kind of the reason for beta testing in the first place.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why we had to run the first beta at such enormous speed bonuses too.
Yeah, because it, got everything up the right way. And I am not
Right.
responsible for any bugs in Hitbox.
Finally, something that's not our fault. A couple of people were asking around the place if holiday subs will be around for a second beta. Do you think that's something we'll have in?
Yeah, I mean, we've got 2 weeks, and I've pretty much burnt through all of the blessing stuff pretty quickly. So, that was the big thing to get added in. So after that, we can start working on the holiday subs.
Cool.
I don't think it'd be anything that would be too difficult
How
to
about
do.
the other one people were asking about was Marketplace.
The marketplace might be, like
A bigger job?
a third beta kind of
Okay.
thing. Just because it's not, I don't see it as big of a priority.
Okay, fair enough.
The overviews, that's going to be for beta too, right?
What's that?
What you guys are doing with the overviews, that's going to be in for beta 2 or no?
Well, we might have something in for beta 2. It's not going to be like
Maybe not
full,
all of it, but something, yeah.
but yeah, something.
Some
So,
of the basics, just to be
Yeah,
able to
like
look at
idle troops and
overall
stuff like that.
resources and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. I think it was the idle troops and overall like carts and resources and stuff that people
Res
really, really
levels.
wanted. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can hopefully try and get that in.
Yeah, and we'll do
Cool.
it like on a separate kind of page as a
Yeah,
like a
separate
dashboard.
tab.
so you'll have your
Yeah,
game
remove
dashboard.
it from the game completely. Click a button, open a new tab. I
Excellent.
love it. I refuse to use overviews in the other game that we won't mention because it froze my game every time. It didn't
Same
matter
for me.
whether I was on a great connection, good computer. It didn't matter. It froze my game. It was awful. I hated overviews.
Yeah, we'll probably do something that's not as much of a live update, but more of a click refresh button so your empire refreshes. Just because the live update would eat a lot of resources, so it'd be something where you can switch over, click refresh, have it refresh everything. But I have a feeling that most people would have it open all the time, And so if you've got it on an auto refresh, then you're doubling up the amount of resources because you're looking at the game, and then in the background it's looking at the overview. So it'll probably just be a, you know, click a refresh button and see all of the new information that's coming in.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Steeltown would like to know about the Alliance forums. Is that going to be part of beta too?
I believe so.
Have you designed them yet, Ella?
I have.
Oh.
They've been designed for a long time, actually. Yeah.
Well, then I don't know why they're not hooked up. Somebody's slacking. I'm going to hold somebody responsible. We will get this figured out. Whoever did it, isn't doing their job.
Clearly.
They need to be fired. Yeah, that's something we can add. And I don't know if that's too difficult. I would like to make sure that we're putting it in the right format before we start, hooking it up. So, things like that should be relatively easy to do.
Yeah.
But who uses Alliance forums anyways?
The thing with the forums that I saw suggested a couple of times in our site forum was to make it an openable tab as well as the overviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that.
Instead of keeping it in the game. Because remember,
that's a good
you
idea.
asked me to make the design ideas thread, and that was one of the feedbacks that I saw a few times that made a lot of sense.
Okay. Something to think about.
It's a good idea.
So have like the forum button open up a new tab. Because my biggest issue is that you don't want to take up too much game real estate, and at the same time, like overviews, you can do so much more with overviews if you have the actual space without having a full size window. So having it in a separate tab gives you a ton of space to work with, so you can put some real good stats and things like that in it. And it also gives you the opportunity to put in charts and pie graphs. And let me see if I can pull up kind of what my initial idea of the dashboard would be. Because Bootstrap, which we use for the main website, has a great kind of template for a dashboard. There they are.
Facts. I don't know. The Alliance forums are kind of a basic function of the game, and charging for a basic function of the game in a free-to-play game wouldn't go over well, I don't think.
I'm not a big fan of overcharging people for stuff.
Yeah.
It would be, sometimes I think it'd be good to limit the availableness of copying and pasting kind of forums, because people do like to steal other alliances forum stuff, and if you're writing guides and stuff for your alliance, it shouldn't be something that people can just come in and be in your alliance for 2 days and take and then start their own alliance with all of your information that you've compiled. So doing something like having a way to protect that information would keep people from having to make their own kind of protected websites. So maybe something to think about. And as you can tell, my computer's not happy running all this stuff, so it is taking a long time.
Poor laptop.
But anyways, if you can see the little pictures, it'd be something like one of these little pictures, where you have a dashboard with little charts that say your idle troops and places and things like that. So
Sounds good. Yeah.
we'll leave a lot of that design stuff to Alla.
Yeah.
Yeah, David Koff points out that if you merge alliances, not having that copy paste ability is going to make merging kind of a pain.
Yeah, and then you can just kind of give ownership rights to, um, you know, alliance
One
leaders, like the same
person
way
or
we're going to do
something.
with the
Yeah.
names. You know, where we're going to save alliance names to, the leaders of the alliance, so that nobody else can use that name once you've won a first place crown. Um, you kind of do the same thing where you keep a copy of the forums and it can travel with your alliance. Maybe that's something we add into the feature of, once you've won a first place crown, your alliance forums stick no matter which server you go to. That way you don't have
Cool.
to rewrite all of those guides and things like that, but you can just go in and delete the old, like the claims and stuff like that.
Right, right. That would have been so convenient. Oh, I'd have loved it. Because that
Don't see
first
an
day is
issue.
really hard on leaders, because you have all, you got to invite people, you got to set up the forums, you got to set up the whole alliance page and everything. And that first day is generally really hard on leadership. So anything to make that easier would be amazing,
Yeah,
I
that
think.
wouldn't be too hard either. You can just save a copy of the forums, at the win. And that way, it gives winning alliances. So you wouldn't save it for every alliance, but you would just save it for the ones that get the first, second, and third place crowns. Um, and that way, it's a prize for kind of winning the game.
Cool.
Just because there'd be way too many alliances to save them for every alliance. People start little one or two
Right.
people alliances, so it'd be more just when you save the alliance info to people's. You might be able to, but I don't want to start monetizing the game in different ways. I'm not out to gouge people and take money. As long as the servers run themselves, I have no need to monetize. Different aspects that we should be giving to people for free. I'd much prefer to make it a reward for winning than something you pay for.
Yeah, I like that idea too.
It's not so much space that's an issue with databases. It's the speed of writes and reads. So databases aren't inherently expensive. Terabytes are basically cheap. Um, it's more the um, speed at which you can process things and insert things into the database that you actually pay for. So uh, something like forums that don't take up a lot of your actual might take up a lot of space, don't actually take up a lot of processing speed. So it's not that cost intensive to save something that's big, as long as you're not retrieving and saving it a lot. And yes, Fact did already donate a large amount.
Hmm.
But like I've always said, the goal of this game is not to gouge people out of every uh, chance I get. It's to create a game that's not pay to win, and that people can play without actually spending any money if they want to. There's
Cool.
enough games out there that charge you for every little action. Um, so if people want to play those kind of games, there's plenty of them out there, but there's not many out there where the developers aren't intent on trying to get everything out of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I won't run the game if it's in the red. If something like that does happen, then we'll have to figure out a different way to do things. But I don't think that we'll have that issue once the game kind of gets going. It should cover itself pretty well. My day job is financials and projections and things like that, so it's it's kind of rare that uh, you know a developer is naturally a business person, whereas most developers don't know anything about business at all. So, kind of a bonus that we have is that I started out doing business and finance and things like that, and then got into development. so I kind of have a good knowledge about how to run things and how to do finances and budgets and things like that. And also, it keeps
Definitely bonus.
and it also keeps me from wanting to sell the game to the first person that comes along with an offer that looks great because I know what the potential will be. You know, I think that's one of the things that like Phenomic did that wasn't generally smart was, they sold for way lower than the actual worth of the game.
Yeah.
So if even if Phenomic sold for $10 million and the game ended up making in 3 years $10, $10 million a year, then they undersold that um, by a lot.
Right.
So also another reason why you guys don't ever have to worry about me selling this to somebody else and it getting torn apart and screwed over.
Right.
And if it does go in the red, I'm just going to ask FAC for his credit card number.
I can take care of this.
Yep.
Say, Gordy, I saw you click on that empty spot in the region map that wasn't settlable. Are all those spots going to be fixed for next round?
Yeah, I need to really dig into the regional map, and you put together a new one, but I need to go through and like audit and make sure that everything is clickable and usable, and things aren't in wrong layers. And there's the regional map is so huge, and you did a great job putting it together. It's just
Thank you.
there's essentially a lot that can go wrong.
Yeah, no, I tried to review everything very carefully, but one set of eyes can only do so much.
Yeah. We're looking at 2 weeks before we start beta 2, right?
It's probably
I
going to
thought
be
3.
2 to 3.
If we
I think 3.
I think it'll probably be more than 3, just because we want to make sure that everything's in and tested well before we start the beta. So
Cool.
this gives us enough time to make sure that things were properly tested and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
those bad spots should be
I,
fixed. And that's one of those things where you see them, and I didn't want to fix them during the competition, just because it would cause more problems than it would help.
Yeah.
Oh dear. We can quit talking about Ninja Chicken. He's here now.
Who wants to
Oh,
bet the
damn.
chicken
What
clucks while he sleeps?
Say, could you click on that lit shrine? I'd like to see that close up again.
Yeah, it's not hooked up to the right one yet.
Nope,
So
never mind.
that's something we still need to work on. So these are just like the placeholders for what's going to happen. I think Ala
Okay.
just put it in for the array right before we did this. So something I'll hook up tonight.
Yeah.
But that is generally what it's going to look
Okay.
like.
Not quite, but yeah. fair enough.
That's not the right one, but that is a pretty looking shrine, I think.
Yeah. The defense counselor, is he building walls and towers without needing to watch over him now?
Yeah, and
Maybe
actually
because
that
it
was
a product of the
that
lab.
was linked into the trade counselor. So that's probably the reason why it wasn't working.
Nice.
Aha. Cool. Yes, trade counselor has been fixed, Ninja.
Mm-hmm.
Damn hitbox. By the way, I've had a few people contact the info at Crown of the Gods email box asking about beta keys, and I've directed them to the forum. And I've also heard a few people say, hey, I have extra keys. What do I do with them? And I've also directed them to the forum. So, I know that a lot of people have also been asking about, are you going to do an open alpha during the next, during the hiatus here? We all miss playing. There's keys available. I know there are.
Yes, there are. I think there. We gave everybody who donated extra keys for the second and the third, so there should be a good amount out there. And for those of you who just came, you can look at my screen and see that one of the features people were looking for got added. Um, you win nothing, chicken. Nothing. So I did put in the zoom for regional map, and I'll put it in for city map as well.
Cool.
Um, yeah, I told you it's going to be random when you get your prize. It's just going to be a random kick in the balls.
Just show up at your door one day.
Yep. But other than that, we're just, hard at work trying to get all these things in. Trying to get everything ready as fast as possible so that you guys can start the second beta and, kind of get the game more into where its natural state should be, which is the temples and the building and things like that. And I don't think it's going to take me too long to get that functionality going. And the rest of it's just, hooking up the other things like forums and the overviews and stuff like that.
I was playing that other game when they introduced the, their, Moonstone portal gate things, and they had some serious implementation issues where people's troops were just getting lost in limbo, and it was like it wasn't. It was bad for them.
It's not as easy as everybody would like to think. Um, Inherently things, if they don't go wrong at the code level, they can go wrong at the server level. If they don't go wrong at the server level, they can go wrong at the database level. And then you've got the 40 to 50% user error on top of that. So, things aren't. It takes a while to get things perfected, and as people can see, it's always going to be a work in progress, and you just have to fix things the best as you can. The good thing about us is that we're doing it all in kind of the beta stages, so by the time the game gets up, everything will be functional and working well because it's already been tested. But even some of the those big development teams out there end up with bugs and glitches and things like that, and they've got 20, 30 people working on something, whereas we've got 2. So I think that we'll end up being more stable in the long run because we're putting it all in at the same time instead of trying to leap things on after the games were running for a year and a half.
I agree.
Look at all these people getting on our stream, right when it's ending. I think everybody's just been asleep, recovering.
Trying to recover. That was really intense. The whole thing. It was fun, but really
It
intense.
was very intense, but it'll never be like that again. It was just for load testing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a lot more fun too for everybody to do it in alliance fashion and not have to be on constantly and constantly clicking,
Exactly.
and the trade counselor working appropriately. But the good news is that the trade counselor does work. It just was all a kind of server issue.
Good.
Oh, back to the thing with the keys. You're gonna want to look for Polgara's thread under World Zero Beta for the need keys thread. So if you have extras, she'd be the person to contact to donate them to her list. She's got quite a list of people who have requested put their names in for extra keys, and she would really appreciate it, I'm sure, getting some extra keys given.
We should put in a captured cities ranking stat.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm. That would be fun.
Just so people, you know, the more statistics, a lot of people like that kind of stuff.
Sounds good.
I never even looked at the boss rankings. Wow, somebody hit 195 bosses.
Wow.
That's a lot of bosses in 2 weeks.
We do populate the bosses pretty quickly, um, so they are always, going to be somewhere around.
Yeah.
What about an alliance average score tab?
You know,
That will be part of. Actually, it should be there already. Hang on, click on alliance there. Oh no,
um,
maybe it's something I got rid of.
yeah, maybe we can add in another, because that one's pretty easy to do.
No, I
Just
think it is
divide
actually. I
one
think
by the other.
when we have an alliance info page, when you click onto it, there will be an average score.
Ah, okay.
There. So
Cool. Glasgow suggests a turn off counselors toggle on the left hand panel. So you don't have to actually open up the counselors options and go
Um,
through all of the tabs.
yeah, I think Alec could probably work in
yeah.
some kind of little on-off switch. Maybe if you even incorporated it onto the counselor button. So where it says counselor
Yeah.
options for the city, just kind of put the text over a little bit, and on this side of the button, if somebody clicks on the little intersection, you could have an on-off switch. Something like that would work.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Or you could even put it down at the bottom, uh, down by the time and stuff. Just have a
Yeah.
little on-off switch that switches on or off, whether or not when you change cities. I don't know if you would want to. It would have to be by city. So if you were in the city and you wanted the counselors turned off in that city, you would probably do it. I don't know if we would do it where it was every city, but we probably could.
Yeah, we could. Well, something to think about.
hmm
Yeah, it's settling cities, especially when you're trying to beat the defense counselor to
Yes, I remember that.
dismiss one troop and make a senator. And you have to beat him to do it unless you turn him off. And that is a pain. Yes, I remember that.
Would you
Yep.
want it for one city, for the city you're in, or you want it for your entire empire?
I
think
think
just one
per
city.
city, just in the counselor option for the city would work even. I mean,
I don't.
Okay,
Yeah,
four
I
city
can't
can
think
do.
of any situation where you'd want it for your whole empire.
yeah. I
You never
can't
know.
either.
You never know, but I can't think of any.
Okay,
I can't either.
four city
But
we can
I
do.
do like the toggle on off thing for the counselors. Or if you're trying to save up res to settle a city, especially at the beginning of the game, just be able to toggle the while the counselor's off so that nobody's doing anything and save it up with one click instead of going through all the tabs and clicking everything.
That actually is really really easy for me to implement. Like that would take me like 10 seconds to put in. So as soon as Alan makes the button, no problem at all.
Okay, it's on the list now. So in the next few days.
I think it'd
Excellent.
be neat to have like the counselors broken out. Like so you have like your build counselor and a separate button for your enlistment counselor and stuff like that.
Um, it's kind of like that now. Just tabs.
Oh.
So tabs are basically buttons, and it's all
Yeah,
in
but
one
you have to
convenient
kinda
spot
dive through
instead of
it
buttons all over the place.
you just have to click a couple times to get to them.
Huh. Yeah, it'd be like a little on and off switch, just like the on and off switches in World. So
Yeah, flag if you something to like remind you that the counselor's off, just in case you forget to turn him back on. Because I remember doing that too.
well, it'll
know,
say
Like
on or
sitting
off
going,
down
oh
in the
my
bottom.
God, I
So
have no troops.
There was one game, I forget which one it was, but like you could turn something off for like 15 minutes and then it would automatically turn back on. What was that?
Yeah, if you had the on and off button, it would take care of it. But when you get into you know waiting 15 minutes and turning it back on or something like that, then there's always going to be the people who say it turned it back on and I told it to turn off.
Yeah, that's true.
There was one game that did that. It was useful. I forget.
It's also something we
But
can
it says,
we could put into the overview. You know,
I was
off or
actually
on.
just thinking that,
Mhm.
yeah. If we were to have an Empire off on Switch, that would probably be the place for it as well.
Yeah, I'm not too sure
it
about.
still says it's your snooze, Ketzel.
I'm not sure if we're going to do an actions in the overview. I guess we could have like little buttons that do the actions. That wouldn't be too difficult to do.
Be nice to like
Cancel
pull
raids
stuff
and
back
stuff.
from exactly.
Hey, we already have game chat, so we're one step above Tribal Wars 2.
Oh God, yes. I, what was it, Ketzel? I gave it like 2 weeks, I
Mhm.
think, and I said I just can't do this anymore and quit.
I think that was Travel Wars 1, but
It was
Tribal
Tribal
Wars-
Wars 1.
yeah, and then Travel Wars 2 came out, and I couldn't. The tutorial kept crashing on me, so I'm like, no.
Same, I
done.
couldn't finish the tutorial. It was like telling me to switch to region view, and then it wouldn't let me, so I just gave up.
Yeah.
Tribal
It-
Wars 1 was just no fun for me because Skype was our only chat option, and
Yeah.
half the people couldn't use it or wouldn't use it.
So, a lot of games have been taking out social options. For instance, Hearthstone, which has been a huge success for Blizzard, had a world chat, and they removed it. So the only way you can interact with people is off the game.
And that
So
takes
stupid.
away at least half the fun of a game like this.
Yeah, where it's like
It makes no sense to me.
social team building, yeah.
Right.
Well, I think
It depends
from
where
their
they're based,
perspective,
because
know,
you can
it
get a
keeps
lot
their
of trouble.
costs and the legal, yeah, it keeps their legal exposure down. It keeps their cost of hiring chat monitors down.
And it also depends how they're
Vicarium
set up too.
killed the chat because someone kept spamming pedophilia stuff on it.
The travel time should be displaying correctly. I mean, that wasn't changed since I fixed it. So, I don't see
Oh, he means, do you remember when we were trying to figure out what the cause of the lag was, and we got rid of region labels, and we also froze the travel time updating?
Oh, yeah. So yeah, that was just something that I didn't feel was necessary. Was for that little tick to keep on going when you're in the thing. So it kind of just shows you a snapshot of if you had sent right now, this is what time it would arrive. But to keep the lag down, it's there's really no, that's a lot of stuff to sit there and calculate and update over and over and over again, especially if you're clicking on a lot of different ones. So basically, it's just it's supposed to be that way. Um, and I don't see much of a point to make it tick forward. I think it does actually tick forward if you're in the actual attack box. But for the sidebar, that's just a lot of calculation to keep running. You want to make the game as easy as possible for people on bad computers or with bad connections to play.
Vassal asks about plans for trade cancellation. So I think an Xbox on trade commands. I think that is.
Oh, right.
Planned.
Yeah.
I prefer
I have it
PlayStation.
I have that on Gordy's bug list, which is more of a suggestions list at this point, but it's on his list.
Yeah, I can add one of those in.
Yeah.
Cool.
Kind of be the same thing as if it's within a certain window of the time, kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. The same as commands are.
Yeah, something else that it keeps getting pointed out is there's a 1 minute 5 second difference between server time and chat time.
Yeah,
Is that annoying some people's OCD?
I do
Yeah.
have the a time server set up so that all of these servers connect to the same kind of time. So I just need to take the server that the chat processes on and change the time. Either that or just make the timestamp local. But I think I'll just, it's like 3 lines in Linux or something like that to get the time to sync up. I just haven't done it.
Sounds good. I'll add it to your list, will I?
Yes, that will definitely help the OCD trigger there.
But that should, that's more of a display thing than anything else.
Yeah.
Cool.
But, if that doesn't sync it directly, I could always just make it so that it pulls it locally whenever a new chat message comes in and puts the time in.
Cool.
I don't know about the blank snapshot, but I mean, I'll test that out and see if I can get that replicated. It's hard for me to fix things if I can't, easily replicate them. Some things I can, but in general, I need to know what the problem is. What's wrong with my
Oh,
red
wow,
res
it's after
numbers?
5 o'clock.
I think he actually is refining. Um, it's the I made it so that if you have the trade counselor, um, let's see, 3864 is the end 3 numbers for the marble. So we'll close it. Now it's 882. So it is actually refining the resources that are getting made in the overflow.
I hate seeing the red. It bugs me.
Gosh, you guys are so picky.
Red equals wrong.
Yeah, the trade counselor is fixed now, guys. Cordy found out what was wrong with it. So, fixed. Yay.
Well, it is after 5.
It is after 5.
I mean, we just kind of flew through it today, didn't we?
But if anybody else has any other questions, we are here and we can still answer some. Yep, I
Yeah.
think we can call it that, and make sure to post your suggestions on the forums if you have any more ideas later
Yeah,
on
definitely.
about how to,
Mm-hmm.
make it so people know that their resources are getting refined, even though it's red. Or any other suggestions, we do look at them and we do put them in. So, more than happy
Within
to.
reason.
Yeah, I mean,
Within reason.
some things are, we're not going to change the actual ease of the game, but we can change the way that people are notified if enough people have issues with it. That's not a problem at all. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll continue to keep working. And we'll be here next week for the next stream with updates. I might do some closed testing during the week, depending on how much of the blessings we get done, and then
Yeah.
kind of give a
Depends
more
on what you
firm
get done.
date, probably next week, of when the second beta is going to start, based on how much we've gotten done over the past week.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
So,
Thank you for tuning in, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
And anybody who missed it, we'll have it posted up on wherever 80 posts things.
YouTube.
YouTube. Yes.
And I'll get it up there as soon as I can, guys.
So,
And yes, less slacking. Absolutely.
yes. I blame 80 for all slacking.
Oh,
Um, and you guys have a good rest of the week. And thanks again for tuning in.
Thank you.
Hi all.
Bye, guys.